Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So in this video, I'll be discussing on what are the patterns of entrance examination in PhD in the discipline of education. So I'll be discussing on the entrance pattern that was carried out during the session of 2020 to 2021 in these four universities. So the first one is Mizoram University, which is a central university in the state of Mizoram. And the next is Cotton University, which is a state government university in Assam. And the next is Rajiv Gandhi University, which is a central university in Arunachal Pradesh. And the next is Northeastern Hill University, which is a central university in Meghalaya. So along with that, I will also show you the entrance question paper of these three universities, that is MZU, Cotton University and RGU. For NEHU, the entrance pattern was MCQ based and the candidate were not allowed to take the question paper along with them. Therefore, I could not collect the question paper of NEHU because it was not possible. So now let us check them out one by one. So the first one is Mizoram University. The PhD entrance in Mizoram University for the session 2020 to 2021 was carried out on 15th October, and the entrance type was open-ended questions. So there was no exemption for any JRF or MPhil candidate. Everyone was supposed to appear the entrance examination, and the mode of examination was online, and the time allotted was a total of 1 hour, and the total questions was 5 questions, out of which one has to attempt only 4 questions, and each question carried 10 marks, and the personal interview for the selected candidate was carried out on 19 and 20 September 2020, and the result was declared on 20 October 2020. So here you can see at least 1 month was taken for declaration of the result, and the total seat for PhD in education in MZU was 22. So now let me show you the question paper of this October 2020 entrance examination. So here you can see this was the question paper of PhD entrance in MZU, and all the questions were open-ended. Total question was 5 questions, out of which one has to write 4 questions. I have also attended this particular entrance examination. However, at the time of interview, my fourth semester master degree result was still pending. It was not yet out. Therefore, there was no point for someone like me to get selected because the minimum requirement for PhD is master degree with at least 55% marks. So here we can see the first question was, why do you want to pursue PhD program in the Department of Education in Mizoram University? Explain. So here one has to write the positive aspects about the entire Mizoram University as a whole and the Department of Education in particular. So here you need to do some background research about the positive aspects. Here you can also write down some innovative research that has been carried out in the Department of Education, as well as when you look at the National Institute ranking framework, Mizoram University has been consistently falling under the top 100 universities in India. So you can also write such kind of positive aspects about the university. And the next question is, select one research topic in which you are interested and give your justification for proposing that topic of research. So in this question, you have to write down a topic of your interest and also give the justification. That means the reason why you want to do research in that particular topic and why the findings of that will be helpful for the entire society. So here the reasons can be various, such as one can say that the topic has been neglected by the previous researcher, therefore you want to do research in that particular topic in order to fill the gap of the literature, or the reason can also be that that topic is very new and explored, therefore you want to explore that particular area. But in all the cases, the justification should be made in such a way that the findings of your research will be beneficial for the society and not just for yourself. So here in the first and second questions, it indicates that before attempting any entrance exam, you need to at least do some background research of the university as a whole and the department in particular. So you need to find out some positive aspects about that. And you also need to have some already pre-planned idea of on what topic you are going to do your research and why you want to do research in that area. So you should at least know these things. So the third question is, suppose you are going to do research on a topic, attitude, aptitude, and achievement of higher secondary school students in commerce, a comparative study of Mizoram and Nagaland. So write down 10 objectives of the study. So this question is very easy. So you can frame objectives such as to study the attitude of higher secondary school students in commerce in the states of Mizoram and Nagaland. So you can frame such kind of objectives. And the fourth question is, based on your answer to question number 3, write as many hypotheses as you can. So this question is also very simple. If your basics about the research methodology, the steps, the research problems, the research hypothesis is clear, then these questions will be very easy for you. So here you can frame hypothesis based on the objective that you have framed in question number 3. So say for example, the first objective was to study the attitude of higher secondary school students in commerce in the state of Mizoram and Nagaland. So here you can state an hypothesis such as there is no significant difference in the attitude of higher secondary school students in commerce in the state of Mizoram and Nagaland. So such kind of hypothesis you can come up with according to the objective that you have framed in question number 3. So the fifth question is, suppose you are going to do research on the topic secondary education in Mizoram, status and problems of teachers and students. Describe your population, procedure of sample selection and tools to be used. So according to my knowledge and understanding, here the population will include the entire teachers that are teaching in secondary education in the state of Mizoram and also the entire students who are studying in secondary education in the state of Mizoram. The next is procedure for sample selection. So here you need to write down the procedure for your sample selection as of which sampling technique you want to use and what are the strategies that you are going to use. So if you want to generalize your findings and you want to make your research unbiased, then one should avoid using non-probability sampling, because in non-probability sampling it becomes more purposive and the findings is not generalized. Therefore you can use probability sampling technique. So within the probability sampling technique one can use stratified random sampling technique, because stratified sampling technique is used when the population is scattered in huge geographical areas. So since here the population, that is the teachers and the students, are scattered in the entire state of Mizoram, therefore the best way to use is a stratified random sampling. And next is tools to be used. So within the tools, the best way to use is triangulation method. So triangulation is when you use more than one tools. Say for example, here we can use observation schedule. Observation in order to check out if the road connectivity of the school is good or not, and if the infrastructural development of the school is good or not, and if the ICT equipments are available or not. So in such kind of cases one can use observation, and you can also use interview schedule, and you can also use questionnaire. So when you use more than one tool, then it becomes triangulation. And here one can also use mixed method research. So in mixed method research, both the qualitative and quantitative aspects are included. And there are various kind of mixed method research, such as sequential explanatory research, sequential exploratory research, and also concurrent triangulation technique. So in concurrent triangulation process, both the qualitative and quantitative aspects are given equal weightage, and one can carry out both the qualitative and quantitative research in the same time. So this was all about the entrance of Mizoram University that was conducted during 2020 October. So now let us move on to the next, that is Rajiv Gandhi University. So the entrance examination for PhD in education for the session 2020 to 2021 in RGU was carried out during 19 January 2021, and the entrance type consisted of both MCQ and descriptive questions. So for MCQ, a total of 1 hour was given, and for descriptive questions, a total of 2 hours was given. So the total becomes 3 hours. MCQ consisted of 100 marks, and the descriptive questions also consisted of 100 marks. Therefore, the total marks was 200 marks. So here there was an exemption for GRF, MPhil, and the in-service candidates under Rajiv Gandhi University. So these people were exempted from giving the entrance examination, and they were called directly in the interview. So the mode of examination was offline in the university campus itself, and the time allotted was 3 hours. And the question patterns were short answer type questions, where one has to answer 4 questions, each carrying 5 marks. And the next is long answer type questions, where one has to attempt 10 questions, each carrying 6 marks. And the last section is very long answer type questions, where one has to write one question of 20 marks. And the personal interview for the selected candidate was carried out in the first week of February 2021, and the result was declared on 10th February 2021. And the total seat for PhD in education in Rajiv Gandhi University was 17. So this was the question paper of Rajiv Gandhi University. The candidates who have appeared this entrance examination were not allowed to take the MCQ questionnaire along with them. They were only allowed to take the OMR sheet of the MCQ. Therefore, I was unable to collect the MCQ, so I was only able to collect the descriptive questionnaire, which you can see in the screen. So this was the descriptive questionnaire of total 100 marks. So here in the section A, you can see the instruction, answer all questions. So here total there is 4 questions, so each carrying 5 marks. So the first question is, what do you understand by educational research? And question number 2 is, what are the constraints in attaining universalization of primary education in India? The third question is, write the steps of computing standard deviation. And the fourth question is, what are the provisions made by the government of India for education of minorities? So here you also have to write down the articles. In the second section, you can see that one has to write 10 questions, each carrying 6 marks. So the first question is, explain the different approaches of educational planning. Next question is, elaborate the concept of right to education. The next question is, explain the difference between assessment of learning and assessment for learning with suitable examples. The next question is, describe the advantages and disadvantages of computer-assisted instruction. The fifth question is, describe the objectives and relevance of Digital India program in the present context. The next question is, discuss briefly the quality concerns of teacher education with special reference to Northeast India. The seventh question is, what are the main principles of constructivism and its applications in teaching and learning process? Explain. And the eighth question is, define the rating scale. Describe the steps for developing Likert type rating scale. The ninth question is, explain the meaning and steps of eclectic counseling. The 10th question is, explain the educational implications of pragmatism. The 11th question is, what is normal probability curve? Describe the characteristic of normal probability curve with diagram. The 12th question is, what are the different types of probability sampling techniques in educational research? And the 13th question is, discuss differentiated and undifferentiated curriculum. In the section C, here you can see the instruction has been given of answer any one question. So one question that carries 20 marks. The first question is, differentiate between qualitative and quantitative research with appropriate examples. And the second question is, select any topic of your choice of research and write the significance, objectives, hypothesis, and methodology for the study. And the third question is, a numerical aptitude test was administered to 12 boys and 10 girls of 5th grade. The score of both the groups are given below. So these are the scores. So here you need to find out if the mean difference between the groups is significant at 0.05 level and 0.01 level or not. So I think as compared to Mizoram University, the entrance of Rajiv Gandhi University was more comprehensive, and one has to remember all the previous learning that they have did during their master degree, because in order to answer this entire MCQ as well as descriptive questions, you really have to prepare very well. But here in Rajiv Gandhi, exemption has been given to JRF, MPhil, and in-service candidates under Rajiv Gandhi University. So at least those people will not have to face this comprehensive entrance examination. So this was all about Rajiv Gandhi University. So now let us move on to the next university, that is Cotton University. So Cotton University is one of the state government university in Assam. The PhD entrance for the session 2020 to 2021 was of descriptive open-ended questionnaire, and there was no exemption for GRF or MPhil candidate. And the mode of examination was offline in the university campus itself, and the time allotted was 3 hours. And here the question pattern consisted of very short answer type, where one has to write 6 questions, each carrying 2 marks. And the next was short answer type questions, where one has to write 7 questions, each carrying 4 marks. And the next is long answer type questions, where one has to write 3 questions, each carrying 10 marks. So now let me show you the question paper of Cotton University. So this was the entrance question paper of Cotton University of the year 2020 to 2021. So the total full marks was 70 and the time allotted was 3 hours. So here you can see the first section is Answer the following questions in 3 to 4 sentences. So here you have to write all the questions. So the first question is mention the characteristic of Sankhya philosophy. And the second question is differentiate between teacher education and teacher training. And the third question is write the concept of personalistic oriented model. And the fourth question is write the basic assumption of the case study method. The next is what is development and developmental psychology? And the next is what do you mean by gerontology? In the second section, you can see one has to write any 7 questions, each carrying 4 marks. So here the first question is, what are the main principles of Freudian psychology? And the next is, what are the specific methods of education suggested by idealism? Next is, write in brief the 4 noble truths of Buddhism. And the next is, what are the problems of elderly people? And the next is, mention some factors influencing social disorganization. Next is write briefly about the role of RUSA in strengthening higher education. And the next is explain the significance of sampling. The next is what is the importance of review of related literature in the research. Next question is write the concept of classical conditioning. And the next is what role has SAR played in the development of education? So SAARC here means South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation. Next is mention the factors responsible for value crisis. Next is write in brief the qualities of a teacher advocated by Vivekananda. Next is write 5 methods of inculcation of religious values at schools. Next is write about the suggestion of existentialism regarding curriculum. Next is what are the problems faced in writing the report of a research. So in the last section, that is the third section, here one has to answer any 3. So the first question is, what is the scope of education? How far is it correct to say that the entire sphere of life is the scope of education? Next is, what is the relationship between life, education, and philosophy? How are education and philosophy related to each other? Next is, suggest a research topic that could be answered best by using a case study, ethnography, content, and document analysis. The next is, what are the objectives of achievement test? How is the achievement test constructed? The next is, what do you understand by retroactive inhibition? Discuss its educational significance. The next is, who are problem children? What methods can you adopt for the treatment of problem children? So this was all about the PhD entrance of Cotton University, and here one can say that more questions has been framed from philosophical foundation of education. And in all the 3 universities, that is the Mizoram University, Rajiv Gandhi University, and Cotton University, one thing is common among all, that the research topic has been asked in all the 3 cases. So here in the Cotton University, one has been asked to suggest a research topic for these 3 research type. So we can say that the research topic is common in all the 3 universities that we have discussed right now. So now we will move on to the entrance pattern in Northeastern Hill University, which is a central university in the state of Meghalaya. So the PhD entrance for education for the session 2020 to 2021 was carried out on 23rd February 2021, and the entrance type was MCQ. There was no descriptive questions in NEHU. The total MCQ was 50 questions, and there was no exemption for JRF or MPhil candidates. And the mode of examination was offline in university campus itself, and the time allotted was 45 minutes since it is a MCQ questions. And the personal interview was conducted on the same day in the afternoon, and the result was declared on 11th of March 2021, and the total seat was only 6. So it was during this entrance that I also got selected in NEHU. However, we were not allowed to take away the questionnaire. We had to submit the questionnaire after the examination. Therefore, there is no point of collecting the questionnaire. However, since I have also attempted the same question, I was able to recollect my memory just after the examination. I was able to list down some of the questions that came in the entrance examination in NEHU. So these were some of the questions that I was able to recollect. The sequence may be different, but this was all I was able to recollect. One of the questions that was asked was MCQ question where 4 options were given, and the question was, which among the following is a research tool where the interviewer fills the questionnaire himself? So here the correct answer was interview. And one question was based on match the following type question, where in the left side the name of the proponents were given and in the right side the name of the contributions were given. So here we need to match the proponent along with their contribution. So here such as Jean Piaget was there and Lev Vygotsky, those were some of the names that was listed out in the match the following and the contribution that they have made. Next, one of the question was also asked on assertion and reason based question. Next is in one of the MCQ questions, four options were given and the question asked was, who among the following advised the inclusion of 6% GDP on education for the first time? So the correct answer was Kothari Commission 1964 to 66. Next is one question was asked on MCQ, which was, which of the following is not a probability sampling technique? So in the list, there was given some sampling techniques where one has to locate which one was not a probability sampling technique. So this was very simple. And one question was asked on who developed the first intelligent test. So in the options, there were four names. So the correct answer will be the Alfred Binet. And one more question was asked on which among the following is meant by brain drain in India. Brain drain here means when the educated and intellectual people of India, such as the top level scientists, the top level engineers, and top level doctors, leave India and settle down in some other country, who are benefiting some other country but not India, and then such kind of phenomenon is called as brain drain. So this was all I was able to recollect on the PhD entrance examination that was carried out in NEHU. So this was all for today, and I hope that you have at least got some idea of what kind of entrance questions are being asked in these four universities. In my next video, I will discuss on the interview questions that are asked in PhD interview in education discipline. So stay tuned till my next video. And if you think that this channel is beneficial for you, then don't forget to like and subscribe my channel. So thank you guys for watching and see you all in my next video.